addicted to love. Hold on tight to your dream.
Okay, we're 90 miles into this road trip and I've already charged twice, stopping first at a Tesco Pod Point 7 kilowatt charger, adding 5 kilowatt hours of energy, and that was 15% state of charge in about 45 to 50 minutes. Then we stopped at Boston, the same Tesco Pod Point, and added another 10 kilowatt hours, but that took us a little bit longer and we added 32% state of charge. I'm now heading to our final destination of Woodall Spa, hopefully with just enough energy to get all the way there and all the way home without charging again. So that's the reason for the video, to look at alternative ways of charging early, charging slower, and doing it in a way that other people wouldn't necessarily choose to do. So I'm not penny pinching, I'm not deliberately going slow, I'm just choosing different chargers and a different way of doing things.
Very different scenery around here from Lincolnshire and Norfolk. It's very flat, very open, no hedgerows. Yeah, it's very, very different and interesting to see, but we've come the back route again. I've just put into the navigation to go from Boston to Woodall Spa, and it's taking
right in 300 yards onto Station Road.
It's taking me the more rural route because, well, we're going inland rural Lincolnshire, so not really any dual carriageways, motorways or anything near us at all. So it's all farms, farmland, cabbages.
Now turn right.
Etc, etc. So we're on the B1192 to Coningsby. Oh, I now know where we are. That was a nice shortcut. That's a very nice shortcut from Boston. I'll have to remember that one. So, having left Boston without enough miles on the range of the car to get me home, I'm going to have to drive economically, which I always do anyway, until I'm having fun. But I need some good economy to get me there without charging. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. As I said earlier, this isn't intended to be squeaky bum time. I'm not trying to make a dramatic video, but it'll be very interesting to see whether my percentages and calculations and estimations prove to be true, and I manage this trip okay without any proper range anxiety, which is the idea. It's a nice trip out. I'm spending the nice day, sunny day, enjoying the drive. The last thing I want to do is be stressed by visiting chargers that don't work or running out of charge or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully it'll go well. So I'm not on the return leg heading home yet. I still haven't reached my final destination, but that could have, should have, hopefully been my last charge, and I won't need any more until I get home and put it onto the Zappy and charge from solar energy this afternoon. That's the plan. Right, I'll update you when we get to Woodall Spa. Okay, I'm ready to depart to head home. I've arrived at Woodall Spa and we've got 105 miles of range showing on the car, and 107, 108 miles to go back home. So actually it's worked out okay, I think. And we've got 79% of battery left. Efficiency at the moment is 5.1 miles per kilowatt hour. It did take a couple extra miles to get here, so it is a bit tight, but 105 range on the car with I think 107, 108 to go should be okay. But I was going to have a coffee and have a nice roll or something to eat, and there's a BP Pulse Charge Master charger here, so I did think, you know, just while I popped to another shop and grabbed myself a coffee and took my time, I would plug in and have a bit more charge, but it doesn't work. It's RFID only. If you're a member of BP Pulse. There's no contactless, and there's no way to contact them because they don't answer the phones. I've been on the phone far too long. I think it's about a quarter of an hour, and I'm not wasting any more time. I'm heading home with what I've got, and I'll stop somewhere for a drink on the way home. So real shame that these sort of chargers are just well, they're in the back of a nice car park. You know, it would be fine, it would be very convenient, but you've got to be a member of BP Pulse to use these things, and it's just not how it should be. I really thought they'd changed the law now, so all chargers had to be contactless, but no, these aren't, and they won't answer the phone to be able to do it either. So I guess there's probably a website I could go on, and I could register, and then I could deposit some money, and then I could charge. But if they won't answer the phone and give me any clue about how to do it, it's not on, is it? It's not very good service. So a good job I didn't plan on using them all along, because this is what I've heard BP Pulse are like, that you get there and then you can't actually charge and can't get hold of anyone to help you. So anyway, it's time to go, and we'll see if we make it or not. 79% of battery, and I've got 107 miles, 108 miles to drive home.
But then the Mini lets itself down as soon as I set the Satnav for the return journey. It recalculates the range to go and uses some extremely pessimistic values for what the range and efficiency is going to be, and reduces the range of the car massively. So now the Satnav says I won't make it home by quite a considerable margin, and I need to go and find a charger. But of course, I know it's lying to me. It's just rubbish, and the calculation it's using is not right, so I'm going to carry on. So the video now is my journey back, but instead of being a relaxing journey back, it's now constantly monitoring what the range is and what the distance to go is, and understanding what the hell the GOM is doing.
Okay, let's give you an update. I'm heading towards King's Lynn at the moment on the way home. The distance to go says 56 miles on the navigation, but that is going via the A47, and that's not the way I'm going. I'm probably going to go another 5 miles more than that, so I'm probably going to do about 61 miles going the same route that I went on the way. But the GOM in the Mini currently says 42 miles, so I'm not sure if I told you before, but from the moment I reset the navigation to navigate home, it changed the distance remaining on the GOM from 105 miles to 67 miles, which is an extremely poor thing to do. For anyone that doesn't trust the Mini and doesn't understand how a GOM works and how miles per kilowatt hour works, and is happy to work it all out manually, if they just trust what the car says, then it was telling me I couldn't make it because the journey was 99 miles that the Satnav was calculating, and distance to go on the battery at 77% was 67 miles, it said, which is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that one moment it can say 105 miles and the next 67 miles. I've literally never seen anything so stupid in all my life. I mean, it's bad enough having a GOM that's not accurate, but to have one that you can't trust because it varies as to what it's going to tell you and whether you can make it or not, it is just crazy. And coming from a Hyundai Kona, where it was much more reliable, and it did base the range based on your learned miles per kilowatt hour and efficiency. Whereas the Mini, when I just programmed the Satnav, totally ignored all the efficiency that I'd done and just worked it out from scratch using some really pessimistic number. And it is awful, and it's not as if it's sorted itself out, because we're now over 40 miles into the journey on the way back, and it's still saying I'm not going to make it. Anyway, it's a bit of a rant, because it is appalling. I would hate for somebody to have this car and be new to electric cars, and then to be flustered that one moment they have 100 miles of range and the next they've only got 60, and all they did was change the Satnav destination. It's shockingly bad, because anyone that's not confident with the electric cars or confident with the Mini, haven't had it for a while, would have then gone looking for chargers. And, you know, admittedly, I'm going to be running it probably quite tight, but that's not the point. It's the point is, you know, to knock off 30 to 40 miles of your range, you know, nearly 40% of the range, if my mental maths is working right, knocked off for no reason other than I programmed the Satnav. And then not to readjust when my miles per kilowatt hour has actually been going up on the way back. So I've done 107 miles to get to Woodhall Spa, and I got 5.1, was it 5 miles per kilowatt hour? And we're currently showing 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour because, you know, lo and behold, the weather's 18.5 degrees C outside. It's a lovely sunny day, as you can see, and the battery's warmer than what it was, so I'm going to get better efficiency on the way back. And equally, there's more traffic, so I'm going to be driving a lot slower. So there's no doubt that the range is wrong. I'm not going to say I'm comfortably going to make it back because I haven't diverted off the route that the Satnav thinks I'm taking yet. So when I do that and add 5 more miles onto the trip, it's yeah, squeaky bum time. Well, it shouldn't be. I'm totally ignoring what the GOM says, apart from having a rant at it, that it says 42 miles. If the battery percent is correct, which I think it's more likely to be, then 50% of a conservative range of 120 would be 60 miles to go. So conservative, it should be fine. And I guess what's going to happen again is the calculation and the program that it's using has reset. So it's not going to start getting really accurate until I get down to about 30%. So I've got another 20% of battery to use up before the distance to empty gauge gets accurate again. Now the crazy thing is, sometimes it's been going up. I've been watching it. When I set off, I had a disparity of 31 miles between the distance I had to travel and the distance it said I could go on the GOM, and it's now down to 13 miles different, but it's been changing up and down. So one moment it's showing 20 miles, then the next moment it's showing 25 miles difference. So the distance to empty gauge is actually just going up and down all over the place, very inconsistently. Now, I know 5 miles here or there isn't such a huge difference, but when you're talking fine margins like 42 miles, 5 miles off or 5 miles on is a big deal. So anyway, there's my rant over and done with. How are we doing? We're doing not too bad. I think we're going to make it with a few miles to spare, even though I'm going to take the longer journey back. But I suspect I'm not going to feel comfortable.
Please leave the roundabout at the second
for another
exit
half an hour
towards
yet.
Swaffham.
I think we've got another half an hour driving before it starts to tell me I might just make it. So anyway, I'll give you an update nearer that time, but so far so good. Hopefully I've judged it well. Okay, so we're well past King's Lynn, past Swaffham, and heading for Dereham on the A47. I know I said I wasn't going to come back on the A47, but the queue with all the caravans and motorhomes going to Hunstanton or wherever was unbelievable. So there was no way I was going to wait in that queue and slow down when the A47's available. So yeah, lockdown's over, bank holiday weekend. It is mad out here. And talking of madness, yes, this bloody range and GOM thing, eh? It's, as I predicted, we're now down to 34% of battery, and it says we've got 33 miles to go until I get home, and 32 range to go. So it's all equaling out in the end, and it looks like we're going to make it within a mile or so, according to the values now. But what's the betting by the time we actually get there we've got quite a bit of contingency because the efficiency has been very, very good. It's currently 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour for the entire journey, so this journey back must be 5.3, 5.4 so far.
So as I'm passing those wonderful Instavolt chargers at Necton, there's 8 of them and they're 150 kilowatts, it's really nice to know that I've got enough to get home with a little bit spare, I hope. What's missing here though is a roadside sign saying Instavolt EV chargers, 150 kilowatts. Why haven't they got something at the side of the road?
I'm quite surprised actually how... I know I left really early in the morning, but considering that I haven't rapid charged and I've actually slow charged on a 7 kilowatt pod point chargers, I'm really quite pleased that I don't feel like I've wasted too much time. Okay, you know, I left at 5 in the morning and it is now 1 in the afternoon, but I've enjoyed the drive, I've enjoyed the day out, I've enjoyed the exploring of the chargers, and I should get home with plenty of sunshine to charge the car back up for free, which was the whole point to going really early. 1, to avoid this horrible traffic on the way out, but 2, not to waste the sunshine and be able to charge back up again for free. So it's worked out alright. You know, it's disappointing, I suppose, that you can't add charge on the pod points any faster. So, you know, I have had to spend 2.5 hours. I'll have to work it out when I get home and actually work out how long I spent on the chargers, but something like 2 to 2.5 hours is what I've spent charging. But I wasn't sat in the car waiting for more than 10 minutes or so, because I went out for a walk and I was quite happy to spend that time charging, and it's added just enough. So my calculations and estimations of adding 15 to 20 kilowatt hours should be plenty for the journey based on the miles per kilowatt hour. That set of calculations and way of working has been absolutely spot on, unlike the Mini's range and estimations on the GOM, which now says 31 miles until we get home, 31 miles of available range and 33% battery. So all the threes and all much better. So I'm a little bit sad that I haven't been able to take my favourite route, the most scenic route, and instead we've got this rather boring straight road heading towards Dereham, but it could be worse. Anyway, I'll give you a further update when we get closer or when I get home, but all going very well so far. I'm very pleased with how the Mini has performed, and I haven't had air conditioning on at all, but it's getting to the point where, you know, with the windows up, I'm now really hot in here, so I could do with the air conditioning on, and the phone's getting really hot, sat in the sunshine as well. So yeah, it's not that comfortable. So as soon as I turn the phone off, I'll open the windows. I've been driving with the windows open, and it's extremely comfortable like that. I don't need air conditioning. So anyway, I'll catch you later and give you a further update when we get a bit closer.
Okay, this is now about 15 to 20 minutes further into the journey, and we've got cruise control set to 55, as you can see. We're definitely not creeping, we're not worrying about miles to go. It's now working in our favour that the distance to go is now less than the range showing on the GOM. So everything is looking much better now. It's just such a shame it's taken 3/4 of the journey for the numbers to start telling us we are going to make it. And at 16% battery state of charge with 15 miles of range left on the car, we get our first warning message, basically showing low range or low battery. And interesting to see that it's based on range, this warning, not battery percent. Anyway, not only do we ignore this, we speed up because I've got plenty of miles left according to my calculations. The road's clear ahead, so actually I'm putting my foot down, really enjoying the drive back, windows open, music on loud, and that's why I'm not recording on the camera, unfortunately, because it just won't work with the windows open and me enjoying myself. So I arrived back home comfortably with 14 miles to spare. That's 12% left of the battery. So my calculations worked out very well. In fact, I was a little bit conservative. I probably could have left with 82%, couldn't I? Anyway, home safe, enjoyed the trip, just very annoyed with the GOM. And the final efficiency for the entire trip, so that's on the way out was roughly 4.9, on the way back was between 5.4, 5.5, and the average overall 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour. Next time though, I think I'll stop at those Instavolt chargers at Necton and save myself those at least 2 hours of charging. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope there was some useful information, especially to prospective Mini owners. Don't be afraid of this GOM. It is a bit rubbish, but you can manage without it. Hopefully one day, BMW Mini, update the bloody thing. It is awful. Anyway, take care. See you again soon, and bye for now.